Teppo Salmon somehow managed to iron his shirt and even patched up a hole with duct tape, because for a job interview he had to look at least somewhat presentable. But due to his criminal past, Teppo was rejected. He was left with nothing and could not even afford a second cup of coffee. He understood very well that he was not particularly smart and could only work with his hands. Unfortunately, such hands were not in demand anymore. Nevertheless, he managed to catch the attention of a waitress named Sari. She paid for his second cup of coffee herself and even invited the unemployed man on a date, hinting that if he behaved properly, something pleasant might await him that night. Teppo really got lucky that night, but in the morning everything turned out differently. The woman noticed tattoos with swastikas on his body and, in anger, slapped him across the face several times. Ordering the Nazi to get out of her house, she threw him out the door. Teppo went to play football with his friends, but in the evening he showed up again at the cafe with a bouquet of flowers, hoping to see Sari. The blonde tried not to talk to him and hurried home. The next time, Teppo found her in a bar, where she was relaxing with her friends. He sat down nearby and then even went on stage and sang a vulgar yet romantic song for Sari. After his performance, he promised that he would not bother her anymore and left. But Sari still followed him outside. They spent another passionate night together, and in the morning, the woman once again demanded that Teppo leave. He did not leave immediately. He asked for tools to fix the loose railing. Sari started to appreciate his skillful hands and care more and more, but she knew they could not be together because she had a son. Teppo did not object to accepting the child as his own and even joked, "Since America has a black president, anything is possible." But this joke angered Sari, and she slammed the door right in his face. Meanwhile, his brother Hari joined the army. A female Nazi hit her boyfriend for staring too much at a dark-skinned girl. And another one from their group, Ollie, clashed with a migrant bartender, thinking he had not charged properly for goods. The bartender immediately showed the receipt, but the skinheads decided to take revenge later. In the evening, they overturned a food stand where a black guy was selling pizza. The poor man managed to get out, but the thugs also kicked him brutally. Teppo began to realize that he had wasted his whole life on nonsense, and it was time to settle down and think about the future. He came to Sari again. He tried to explain that with his lifestyle he was fighting for his country and could not just walk away from the organization. But according to him, that did not stop him from being a father to her son. The woman threatened to tear the Nazi to pieces if he ever hurt her child. At that moment, the boy was staying with his father in Sweden. Later, Teppo and Sari went together to the ceremony where Hari took his oath. The two lovers could no longer hide their feelings, and soon Teppo moved in with Sari. He was very nervous before meeting her son, and when the boy, Ramadan, entered the house, the Nazi experienced a real shock, for the child had dark skin. Teppo decided to feed the boy and offered him a banana. He spoke to Ramadani as if he were just an ordinary child and did not think at all about his skin color. Everything seemed to be going well until one day in the sauna the boy noticed tattoos on Teppo's body, a swastika and a lion, symbols that only Aryan patriots used. The next morning, Ramadani demanded that the Nazi leave. Teppo tried to justify himself, walked the boy to school, but Ramadani decided to be spiteful. He turned on a Muslim prayer on his phone and began praying right in the middle of the street. When Teppo came to pick up the child from school, he wore a hat and dark glasses so that no one would recognize him. At that moment, Ollie appeared near the house with his neo-Nazi buddies. They insisted that their white brother should go with them to an important meeting. The guys tried to invite themselves into the house and even peeked through the windows, but Teppo did not let them in. Ramadani asked the man to help him with his homework. They went outside, and the boy said that they needed to film a video of a Nazi burning the Finnish flag. Teppo refused, and then Ramadani set the flag on fire himself. The man rushed to put it out. After that, the boy suggested making a video as if the Nazi was beating a black child, and he did not stop there. Through his mother, the boy asked Teppo to fix the light in the basement. When Teppo started working with the wiring, Ramadani turned on the electricity and Teppo was shocked. Nevertheless, he managed to arrive at the meeting at the very last moment. There, the discussion was about foreigners selling sausages, and they were praised for having defended the honor of Finnish food production not long ago. As a gift, Teppo was presented with a figurine. In the evening, he was already discussing the danger of Islam with an important guest. Ollie envied Teppo and wanted to become the leader of the local group himself. Completely drunk, Teppo rehearsed how he would say goodbye to Sari, but she was not at home. He found a note and rushed to the hospital. It turned out that Sari was not feeling well and had to stay there for a while. Moreover, she admitted that she was pregnant by Teppo. The man was overjoyed and changed his mind about leaving because now he bore full responsibility for Ramadani. But unexpectedly, it turned out that the boy was to blame for everything. Ramadani had wanted to poison Teppo with rat poison, but it was his mother who tried the dinner first. After that, the boy burst into tears, and the man suggested making peace, at least until Sari returned from the hospital. At school, Ramadani also had problems. Bullies mocked him and would not leave him alone. Teppo advised him not to run away, but to fight back, right in the head. In return, Ramadani promised that he would duck down in the car so Teppo would not worry that someone might see him next to him. In the evening, Ali began chasing the dark-skinned boy from the food stand in his truck. Teppo no longer enjoyed such entertainment. The next morning, he decided to teach the boy how to fight, but he overdid it and threw him to the ground too hard. At that moment, Hari drove up to the house. He was fed up with the army and had run away. Teppo asked the boy to hide, but Ramadani was worried that the stranger would enter the house. Hari intended to stay there, and several grenades fell out of his backpack. The idiot had stolen them before deserting. Then Hari saw photographs of Ramadani, and Teppo lied, saying that Sari was simply helping one African boy. The brothers went to the sauna together, and then the older one beat the younger in the shower so that he would agree to return to the barracks. The next day, the grenades were missing. Teppo had served himself and asked to give his brother another chance. It turned out that Hari had run away because he did not want to follow the orders of an Asian officer. The commander concluded that Hari was not only a deserter, but also a psychopath, and therefore he would be declared unfit for service. Patriot Hari lost his temper and was deeply upset. He was not allowed to defend his homeland, but Teppo was more concerned about where his little brother had put the grenades. Returning home, Hari saw Ramadani. He began to sneer at the boy, but Teppo immediately warned him he must not go near the boy or touch his things, otherwise he would crush him. The man searched the whole house but never found the grenades. Hari divided the living space with a line, explaining that one side was for whites and the other for everyone else. Seeing this, Teppo beat his little brother thoroughly and forced him to erase the line. He promised the boy that Hari would soon move out, but Hari threatened to kill him. Ramadani got scared, so he hid a knife under his pillow. Teppo spent the night in the boy's room to guard him. In the morning, Hari drew the line again. During a game, the ball rolled over it, and Ramadani had to figure out a way around. Hari threatened to call his neo-Nazi buddies if his brother beat him again. Meanwhile, the man went to see Sari. The poisoning had not harmed the baby, but she would have to stay in the hospital for a while. At school, Ramadani's shirt was torn. Teppo kicked 3 bullies and ordered the leader to hand over his own shirt. After that, 3 fathers came to Teppo's house with bats. They jumped on the man and began beating him. Teppo called his brother for help, but Hari only turned up the TV volume. However, later the young man changed his mind and with great pleasure beat up the uninvited guests. The boy appreciated Teppo's sacrifice and thanked him, saying that he was a good stepfather. He hoped that Teppo would not leave them. The man shed a tear and promised he would not abandon Ramadani. The next time the boy was attacked, he remembered the move and pinned the bully to the ground. For that, Ramadani was expelled from school for a week. Supposedly, parents sometimes only imagine that their children are being bullied. But Teppo yelled at the principal and tore up the document. If necessary, he would become the boy's bodyguard both in class and at recess. The teachers, of course, did not like this, but Teppo was ready to protect him all the way through university. Ramadani's father came to visit. Hari refused to shake Salif's hand, but the man only laughed at the racist, saying that racism is born because of small organs. Unlike Hari, he was a reserve lieutenant and paid taxes, while the Nazi lived on welfare. Salif left, and this time the fathers brought an entire crowd with them. The men chased Teppo through the city streets. He did not lose his head and called his neo-Nazi buddies. They surrounded the men. The leader immediately got punched in the face, and the scrawny guy in glasses tried to buy his way out. But 400 euros did not convince the skinheads, and they beat up the unwelcome strangers. Teppo made sure that no one was crippled. "For a white Finland," Ali shouted several times, and Teppo at the last moment raised his hand. Hari noticed this and went after his brother, because he was supposed to be their leader. The Nazis worked themselves up and in the evening attacked a gypsy camp. Teppo also took part in the outrage. Together with his buddies, he beat everyone who was there. At home, the boy proudly said that he had cooked dinner for himself and asked his stepfather to read to him at bedtime. Teppo felt ashamed and burst into tears. His brother saw his tears. Later, the man confessed to Sari that Moroccans had raped his ex-girlfriend, and now he was afraid that Sari or her son might suffer because of him. On the way back, Teppo promised Ramadani that he would never hit anyone again. He came to the football field and told the Nazis that he would play too, but not alone. Teppo brought the boy out of the car, and the Nazis froze in place while the man and his stepson kicked the ball. Ali and the other skinheads surrounded Teppo, but Hari stepped in between them. He did not allow his brother to be beaten, but he also did not intend to share his views, continuing to insult Ramadani and his father. Teppo said that his brother was a disgrace and had to leave. Then Salif made a joke at Hari's expense, and Teppo held the man back. Hari got angry and came out with a grenade, pulling out the pin. Teppo persuaded him to put the pin back in, take a pancake, and calm down. Salif was already about to leave, but once again clashed with Teppo and his brother. Before leaving, he called Hari a Nazi loser. In response, Hari threw a grenade into the car and blew it up. Fortunately, Salif got away with only scrapes. Hari ran away, and Teppo was sent behind bars. The man did not give up his brother and did not say where he was hiding. The brothers met at their father's house. Teppo persuaded the younger one to surrender and promised that later they would start a business together. Before saying goodbye, Hari apologized for everything he had done, but he never went to the police. He still had one more grenade left. He went into the bathroom with it. Teppo realized what was about to happen, but it was already too late. When Teppo returned from the funeral, he saw the whole gang of neo-Nazis in front of the house. They jumped on the former leader, tied him up, and knocked him to the floor. Ali pulled out an angle grinder from his bag and ground off the white lion tattoo down to the flesh. Blood splattered everywhere. After that, the Nazis left. Just then, Sari came home with her son. She was in shock, but Teppo only laughed and said everything was fine. Now for real, everything in his life was in order. He apologized for the mess. That is where the film ends. Thank you for watching till the end.